Hi, I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so glad that you've made your way here and that I'm now sharing these podcasts here on YouTube. In my 25 years in the beauty industry, I have worked with thousands of women. I have witnessed so many beautiful, powerful, smart, and kind women who are hiding instead of shining. My mission is to empower you to own your true power and beauty inside and out, to be truly confident and shine through your skin. Lord knows the world needs your light. I'm committed to helping you understand the choices that you are making that are working for or against you. I'll also be sharing beauty tips and tools your mother never taught you, and together we will bust urban beauty myths. Make sure to subscribe today to receive episodes right when they are released. For those who prefer listening to the audio podcast, head over to sacredbeautylifestyle.com. That's sacredbeautylifestyle.com, and you can find the platform of your choice. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I am here with quite the duo, the owners of Fit Mom and the Food Code podcast hosts, Becca Chilcz and Liz Roman, are nutritional practitioners and holistic health coaches. These women have been coaching since 2015 and are on a mission to help driven, hardworking women lose weight, gain more energy, and live confidently in the shortest time possible so they can maintain their results long term, even if they have tried everything before to no avail. They use a root cause approach, including testing. Fit Mom Lifestyle offers individual coaching as well as group coaching specifically for those with digestive issues, hormonal imbalances, and autoimmune diseases. Without further ado, welcome, Becca and Liz. So happy to have you here today on the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
When I came across you two, it was like, oh my goodness, I love what you're doing because there's so much confusion and misinformation about nutrition and wellness. And I feel that you two have such a deep, profound, comprehensive understanding and way of bringing your message into the world that I wanted to share you here.
We appreciate that. We are excited to be here. And I know that when we chatted before, we just resonate so much with the voice that you have as well. And, helping women radiate and feel confident in their skin through their skin. And so I'm excited to bring some, information to your listeners today. And I hope that this is helpful for everybody out there who is listening, because we know that in the world of diet and nutrition, there's a lot of conflicting information. So hopefully we'll shed some light on some of those things today.
I love it. So much conflicting information, so much misinformation in the era of information. I wonder if one of you or both of you want to take a couple of moments and share a little bit about your story, either individually or collectively, whatever feels good for you, and how it is that you came to be nutritional consultants and the mission that you're on today.
Yeah, I can start. Liz and I have very different stories, which I kind of love, and kind of the reason why we each have slightly different passions in terms of focuses and expertise areas. So I grew up kind of always overweight, struggling with confidence in that sense, but got very into fitness after college. I played sports in college, was always, into athletics, and competed in CrossFit for a really long time, which I loved, but I now looking back on realized it created like a very disordered view of my body and what it should look like and what fitness and health should look like. It was very extreme to a purpose. Obviously I competed, but too much so to where I was under eating, and it kind of fueled a lot of the issues that I struggled with after my first pregnancy. So I have two little ones, and after my first pregnancy, I tried to get the body back. I tried to get back to a place where I wanted to look and feel good, and did it in a very unhealthy way. And pregnancy, like it is for many women, was kind of a trigger of all of the underlying things that, stress had caused on my body over the years. And so I had a lot of symptoms that I was ignoring. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't going to the bathroom very well. I was exhausted. I was freezing cold all of the time. No sex drive. I was very moody. And finally, it hit me when I gained about 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, something's going on. Got some testing done. I had very low hormone levels. I basically had bottomed out cortisol. I had basically adrenal fatigue. I know that technically that's not like a conventional medicine term, but in the holistic world, we know you've basically done a number on your adrenals. So I had to go through a healing process. I had to take a step with some things that I really love doing. Obviously, it took me about 8 to 12 months to turn my body around, giving it lots of love, slowing down, meditating, eating a lot more of nutrient dense foods, things that I was avoiding. I was very like diet food, and I was eating now a lot of saturated fats and salt and whole food sugars and things that my body really needed nutrients wise. And I can say that happily, I have had another baby since, and my body has done very well after that pregnancy because I took it a whole lot differently. But going through that process, obviously, and realizing how much I was not supporting my body and what happened because of it made me very passionate about helping women not deal with that same thing. Because I think a lot of people can relate to that postpartum situation and, struggling with wanting to feel like yourself again and doing a lot of probably unhealthy things to get there. So that was kind of my journey and what got me very passionate about helping women and fueling their body properly and managing hormone situations and understanding their symptoms and all of that good stuff. So yeah.
Oh, Becca, I love your story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And it is, I think, so misunderstood. Like you said, adrenal fatigue, I think is way more common than we realize. So we'll have to delve into that a little bit more. And thank you also for bringing to light the fact that some of the exercises that we're doing are really extreme and harsh and have side effects for the body. I think I talk about that. Like some of the workouts are like, we don't need Pilates on steroids. Like Pilates itself is fine. So it's that kind of idea. So thank you, Becca. And Liz, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my story goes way back to when I was a child. I was diagnosed with children's rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition. I was told I would never walk, play sports. I was basically paralyzed to a certain extent, like my hands and my feet, just were not functioning. And I was put on heavy doses of prednisone and methotrexate. I gained a ton of weight. And at that point in time, my mom said, "We're not going to accept this as an answer, as a diagnosis. We are faith believers." She prayed, prayed, prayed. She felt like, through a whole food, nutrient dense diet, we could improve things. And at one point, she said, "It's time to stop the medication." I have been free from those symptoms since then, which is amazing. However, weight was always an issue for me. And in college, I was similar to Becca with trying to really restrict my food intake and diet really hard. And at that time, I didn't understand the importance of nutrients. And so I was doing a lot of processed diet foods, counting points, counting calories, so forth. And I was going to the rec center that we had there on campus twice a day because I was a college student who only worked part-time. And so I could do these things. But fast forward, I was diagnosed after college with hypothyroidism. And the autoimmune component of that is Hashimoto's. And, that's my second autoimmune condition. The weight that I had lost in college came back rampantly, plus interest. And so I found myself at that time very unhappy with where I was, hiding behind baggy black clothes, frustrated with myself. How could I let this happen again? I worked so hard to get that weight off. And I was also struggling with brain fog, skin issues, skin spots, dry skin, brittle nails, and constipation was my biggest struggle. I was taking Miralax. I was going to doctor after doctor. They were doing colonoscopies in college. That was awesome. And so I finally found a functional holistic doctor in the area that I had moved to who said, there is a lot going on inside your gut. And so you do have, Hashimoto's present according to your labs, but we've got to work on your gut. And so long story short, here I am today. That's my passion, is helping women who, again, have all of these symptoms, some who have been diagnosed, some who have not been diagnosed, but maybe trending that direction because of how their body is stressed and burdened and how their digestive system is not functioning the way that it should. And so therefore they're malnourished. And a lot of the symptoms that we see, from joint pain to fatigue to brain fog, constipation, bloating, heartburn, acid reflux, all of this stems back to our digestive system and the ability to not just ingest good nutrients, assuming someone is doing that, unlike I was when I was young. I wasn't ingesting the nutrient dense foods, but actually able to absorb those nutrients and utilize them. So when I was diagnosed with this as a 2014, leaky gut had just kind of become like the buzzword back then, and not a lot of people, really understood it. So that was part of the diagnosis. And going through that journey, I was able to lose 50 pounds. I've kept it off since then. Had a little boy 3 years ago. Had a great recovery from that. And so that's what led me to becoming a practitioner and really wanting to help people understand the intricacies and the nuances of gut health, because it is not a one size fits all. Each of us are, bio individual, and it's so important, and it plays such a crucial role for so many people, and they just don't realize it.
Wow, you two have quite the story.
And we met in 2017. Yeah. So we've been
through a lot of it together and evolved what we wanted to work with people on through a lot of, like trial and error. When you first start working in nutrition and health, you think like, well, I have to cover it all, right? That's what I have to take every client on. And then you really start to understand who you want to help and who you really have a passion around. And not that those other people don't deserve the help. It's just you want to be the best person for the client that is coming to you, obviously. I'm not going to take someone that wants to step on stage at a bodybuilding competition on, because that's going to probably wreck your hormones for a period of time. And I'm very against that. And so we know the populations that we relate to, and that has evolved drastically over the past 5 years since we've worked together. So we love what we do.
I love what you do as well. And it's so important to love what you do and to be super clear about who it is you can serve and cannot serve. So bravo. And I was curious how you two met. So
yeah. So I used to help manage a CrossFit gym. And I started coaching within that gym. It got very popular. I could not manage as many clients as I had, so I was looking for help. And Liz responded to a post, or someone she knew responded to a post in a Facebook group from On It, which is a company within the fitness space. And she was actually close by, about 20 minutes from where I lived. And so we met and immediately hit it off. And Liz is kind of the yin to my yang. We are similar but different. We have slightly different personalities, and they coexist very well together. And ever since then, we've become very, very close friends, which is amazing to get along so well with your business partner and become great friends because of it too. So yeah,
I love it. So gosh, there's so much here to unpack. I am sort of intrigued for our Sacred Beauty podcast listeners. I'm sure they can relate to so much of what you're saying, both of you. And because skin is, key component, nutrition is a key component actually of shining through your skin, as you well know. And Liz, you had this personal experience where I jokingly told you my phrase, that shit will come out your skin when you're constipated, has been something I have been teaching for years, because your skin is a purging organ by design. Whatever's not coming out your pee, your poo, or your sweat literally comes out your skin. So you had that firsthand experience of constipation, and you had major skin issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for many years, I had dry skin and kind of just chalked it up to the season here in Midwest, right? We go through the wintertime. Oh, dandruff is, just normal. I also had hormonal acne when I got my cycle as a teenager. And of course, the answer at that point in time, and this is a whole different story for another day, was birth control. And so I went on the birth control pill, a variety of different types of birth control, actually, until we found one that did okay with me. And then I would also use this very, very strong face wash to try to clear up the acne. And long story short, none of that was, really helping. And the culprit was my gut health. So today I'm not on birth control. I don't have to use the dandruff shampoo or any harsh chemicals or things like that on my skin. And I don't deal with the dry skin or the brittle nails or the skin spots. So I would actually have these like white and brown spots on my hands and on my back if I would go on vacation or if I was out in the sun a lot. And none of that happens. I'm in the sun every single day, getting some good vitamin D. And so this has become a passion of mine because everything that happens in the gut impacts our body. And we're going to show it on our skin. They have, a constant dialogue between your gut and your skin. And this is what we know now as our gut skin axis. But symptoms of gut health can be incredibly varied and vast, as we kind of talked about before. It is very nuanced, but our skin is a really good barometer of what's going on inside of our gut. And it doesn't sound very glamorous, but it is true. And, we also know that inside of your gut, you have 70% of your immune system. That's where your immune system, does its work. And there's so many things that are involved in the digestion and absorption of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, all of these things that your body needs to work optimally, right? And when, the cascade is interrupted in some way, or our immune system is constantly on alert because we're eating a lot of inflammatory foods, processed foods, all of these things, we're going to see that at some point in time. And so, hormonal acne, that's also, we always tell our clients that your cycle is kind of your report card for the month. It's not normal. We hear today mainstream media that it is normal. It is not normal. The dry skin is not normal. You should not have to use these harsh chemicals, or we have a lot of clients even on or have been on like spirulactone, right? Very harsh pharmaceuticals. Sorry, I know I'm just seeing you like opening up all of the can of worms here, but if things are working properly, your body is able to digest, break down, and absorb all of these nutrients, and at the same time protect you from various pathogens and bacteria that enter into your digestive system. We will have glowing skin, right? We don't struggle with any of these issues or these symptoms. And so it's really important. And yet I would say many people don't pay attention to gut health unless they're experiencing, heartburn, acid reflux, constipation, like very strong symptoms.
So much juiciness about what you just shared. And I, as an esthetician of 25 years, have struggled so much because it's not the norm to take responsibility for what we put in our body, and being taught that that is a direct reflection of how we look. We're taught that if we purchase this or this or that, which most of the time doesn't work because there's so much BS on the market, that is how we will radiate beauty, and it's total BS. It really, there are so many other key factors. And hearing you say this for our listeners, that I've been preaching as, a nutritional consultant, just lights me up, because you study this, you've had the firsthand experience, and this is what I've seen and been teaching for years. So for those of you listening who are struggling with some of these conditions that you're hearing today, I really invite you to take the road less traveled because again, there's so much misinformation out there, and really this is the key, this is the core, this is the truth, is that your gut health plays a key component. What you put in your body shows on your body. So I love everything we are sharing here in such depth. Thank you. I wonder, Becca, do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah. So like Liz was saying, the gut plays a really important role in the absorption of all of these things. And I challenge people to, when your doctor, which is normally where people end up at, obviously, if they have like a skin condition or something that's really bothering them, recommends, oh, you have bad PMS, go on birth control. You have really, bad skin issues, here's this steroid cream. Like, your skin issues is not a deficiency in a steroid cream. It's a deficiency in some type of nutrient or vitamin that your body is not getting to allow to have healthy skin, to have healthy organs. And so challenge, like, what is the root cause of this? Because typically skin is not the only symptom either. And that's another thing that I think a lot of people, like, you focus on the skin. Like, a lot of times people will come to us focused on the weight that they've gained. It's not, the weight gain is another symptom. The skin is another symptom. There's usually other things going on before that happened that we've either ignored, we aren't aware enough of our body to be able to understand what else could be going on. Like Liz was saying, digestion is more than digestion symptoms, like constipation, diarrhea, stuff like that. A lot of times, if people have intolerances to certain foods they don't know of, they'll wake up with like their fingers will be swollen or their joints will be achy. They'll have headaches. They'll have, brain fog, fatigue, stuff like that. Those are very common symptoms to gluten intolerances or other food intolerances that people may not realize because they don't have, oh, I just ate gluten, now I have a stomach ache. And so it's being able to have this like full body awareness. And we also focus a lot on the liver too, because I'm sure, as you know, it is our main detoxification capability organ. And so when our liver is burdened by all of the other things aside from food that we are experiencing in a day to day, our hair care products, our air, our water, our, types of food that we're eating, processed foods, your liver, any medications that you're on, supplements that you're taking, your liver has to process all of that. And typically, if the liver is burdened, the gut is not functioning well, you will see all of these estrogen dominant symptoms. You'll see a lot of these hormone imbalance symptoms, skin being a main one, PMS, belly weight gain, migraines, all kinds of moodiness and irritability. Like, I think unfortunately we normalize this stuff in society so much. Oh, you're a 35-year-old mom in a stressful job. Like, just live off of caffeine. That's how we are, right? And we're like, haha, laugh about it. No, that is not how you should be. Like, you should be able to function. You should be able to have energy throughout the day. You should be able to feel good in your skin. And unfortunately, I think it's so normalized in society that we don't even think that that's like a real thing. It's like this unicorn fictional character that's like this glowing mom that has all the energy, right? It's sad that it has become the dominant trend of feeling like crap. And it has so much to do with more than like even just the food you put in your body. So having that body awareness is huge, and really being an advocate for yourself of, I don't feel good. This is not right. What can I do about it?
Being an advocate for yourself is so important because it is not often that Western medicine doctors will go the extra mile to uncover or to listen or to validate what you are sharing, because they have a limited scope through which they are looking and have been taught, and they really don't study nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that a lot of people don't realize, because we're trained to listen to our medical doctors, but here in the US, is what I can speak to, is that they don't have that training. They have a symptom, and here is a prescription, a coding of what is going on, versus delving into what is the core issue causing this. So you both have brought so much in. I was cringing when Liz, you were talking about, the prescription that is commonly given, and I always say it wrong, spirolactate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spirulactone.
Spirulactone. I don't know. I'm one of those people that sometimes I look at long words and I just go, um, like Becca's last name.
It's fair.
um, so that one, people are put on it as a, oh, well, let's just stop the symptoms that are surfacing, but not realizing that is actually shutting off your endocrine system, completely stopping the normal body functions. And your body is like a credit card. You do have to pay the debt and the charges of what we are doing to it, which is why I'm also super glad that, Becca, you brought in the liver, because yes, our livers are taxed. And you have some people say like, well, my grandma didn't have to do this, or they lived this long and didn't have to experience this, and it's a whole new world. I'm singing now. But it's a very different world that we are living in, and there are an incredible amount of toxins coming at us all the time, not just the preservatives and the pesticides that are being sprayed in the air, right, and the hormones that are being injected into our animals. I've become one of those picky eaters. I've always sort of been a natural mama, innately just sort of guided towards what was right for me, and super healthy young lady. And I've gotten to the point where, I'll just kind of skip a meal if it's not something that's super clean. If I'm traveling and I'm like, I can't get organic, there's not any clean meat, it's only questionable meat, that's okay. I'll just wait until I can get something that's actually really good for me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's so Becca and I always talk about it's hard to do things, the right way these days because we were sharing a story earlier. Becca bought Kerrygold. We love Kerrygold's grass-fed butter, right? But she bought something that was like now a spreadable butter and didn't look at the ingredients, just grabbed it quick, trusting that brand because obviously, it's Kerrygold. Why wouldn't you? And lo and behold, it's not a clean product, And so if we are uneducated and if we are unaware, it's very, very difficult to know just how much burden that your body takes on in all of the things that, I would say the standard American diet provides or doesn't provide. So it's definitely something that, we understand you have to work hard at. We understand that it is more difficult to make these choices, but in the long run, it's so worth it. And even if you're at a party and, everybody is, encouraging you to eat this cake that isn't going to make you feel good, we always tell people like embrace and be proud of what you're doing because you're working on yourself to become a healthier version of you. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be temptations. We totally recognize that some of these foods out there are delicious and tasty. They're hyperpalatable, right? The food industry has made them that way to become addictive. But if you can stand firm in your beliefs and what you're doing and know that what you're doing is right for you and that this is, a long-term solution for your health, not just a temporary diet to get weight off. We podcast a lot, hard truths on our podcast, and recently we've been really hounding this concept of be proud of what you're doing because right now it seems that we are the abnormal people for being healthy, and we totally want to change that script because it should be, hey, you're not eating that cake today. Oh, it makes you feel like garbage. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I know you're going to go home and feel better instead of, oh, come on, it's just a piece of cake.
You're so lame. Have some fun. Life is so short. Like, there's all the things that people will
Just have
say,
another glass of wine.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Just put this known toxin into your body. Just one. Like, can we change how we actually say things instead of have another drink? It's, do you want some more alcohol that's actually a toxin to your body that you're going to have to process in your liver? And then it's probably going to make you feel like crap tomorrow. Can we start having different conversations? Because I feel like that's the actual truth. Do you want this processed food that science has made and doesn't come from the real earth? Like, it's just, it can be so frustrating. And I think some days I try to reel it in, but some days I'm just at a point where it's really hard to have a nice conversation about it because you encounter it so much and you feel so bad for people truly trying to make a difference in their life and change things, and they get zero support from their friends, from their spouses, from their family. And it makes you feel so alone. And like Liz was saying, we really want to help create that movement of, you know, how about people that are ordering the salad or the vegetables and protein at dinner are the normal people, and the people that are getting the third Big Mac for the week are the people that are like, oh, hey, maybe you should not do that. It's a hard movement to push, but we're here for it. So
It is a hard movement to push. I call it life insurance. And what you were sharing, Becca, about getting sort of harassed or it's almost like bullied, like, picked on for making conscious choices. If we're being honest, a lot of that has to do with addiction because alcohol or sugar or these foods are really addictive. Like you said, they're hyper palatable for good reason. We know that some of the ingredients are addictive on purpose. And even just sugar being so addictive that when you're doing something different, that can highlight to somebody else that they're not doing it and it can make them feel bad, even if that is not your intention. Like, I want everyone, which I know that you ladies do as well, to feel good and look good and to radiate their most confident, beautiful self. And me doing right for me, you doing right for you, isn't about putting you down. It's about walk with me. There's another way. You can actually feel good all the time, not just for a hot moment. So that said, I know we could probably talk for hours here. So I wonder if either of you, want to share common mistakes that you see people make that they don't know they're making, or any myths that you'd like to bust on diets or nutrition, or, even speaking to like intermittent fasting or what's common these days? I'd love to hear, and I'm sure our listeners would as well.
So I will go first. I have a very big bone to pick with the diet industry regarding demonizing whole nutrient dense foods. Bananas and carrots are two things that I have seen time and time again from various diets, be it Weight Watchers, a 6-week challenge, keto, you name it. And so a series that I'm going to be starting is diet culture versus truth, and what God created for us, and all of the great benefits of nutrient dense, one ingredient whole foods. So that is a very big mistake that I see. And I made these mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I am not immune to these things. When I did Weight Watchers several years ago, I filled my points with smart ones, frozen, processed foods or 100-calorie snack packs. I was trying to spread it out because I was so freaking hungry, trying to eat less than 1,200 calories a day, or however much those points tallied up to be, that I ignored the fact that I was not eating actual real food. And so that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I've even moved further and further away from the spectrum of calories and macros. Like, of course, when we're working on, weight loss goals and maybe fat loss goals, we need to be in a bit of a deficit, but we also need to do that deficit the right way and not deprivation diet. Because when we deprivation diet, you're depriving your body of nutrients, of whole foods, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, proteins that your body needs to function optimally. And so that's my thing. And I would say to anybody out there who thinks that it's not possible to get to your goal without doing those things, you need a different strategy and somebody to educate you and guide you, because deprivation dieting is detrimental to your longevity of life.
Mm-hmm. I think so many people, unfortunately, the first time they encounter nutritional information is through a diet. You don't really look for it anywhere else until you want to lose weight. And then we think, what's the best diet to do? What's the most, crazed diet right now? And stop looking at diets and nutrition through a vacuum. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, should I do fasting? It's like, okay, what else are you doing? Are you eating regularly? Are you eating nutrient dense foods? Are you eating enough protein? Are you drinking enough water? Are you going for walks? Are you active? People think that that's just this one thing. Should I remove carbs? Should I remove meat? Should I? And it's so focused on these, it's this one answer. That's your answer, right? It's never one answer. You have to make sure you have foundational habits in place. You have to be consistent with those things. And that is how everyone from the beginning of time got to the results that they have. It is not, you are an anomaly. I always, it's not coming from a harsh place, but I always tell people, you are not that special. Your body is meant to get certain things. You are not different from the person next to you that is using foundational habits to get to where they are. We need to do the same thing. And so don't latch on to these shiny objects. It always comes back to the foundations. And the only other piece that I would say is, if you have symptoms, if you are struggling with your health, you have to address health before you try to address weight loss, because you will be fighting an uphill, futile battle against trying to lose weight if your body is unhealthy. And so weight, again, like I said before, is another symptom of what is going on at the root cause of your health issues. Address the health, the weight loss will come. So those are the big two things that I have, is stop attaching to the shiny objects and start looking at what you can do foundationally, because the shiny objects are not the answer.
Yeah. And I just want to piggyback off that. So you mentioned shiny objects a couple of times, and we talked about liver health earlier, and how our liver has to detoxify all of the things that we ingest and put into our body. Another really big mistake that we see people doing is DIYing their health and taking a variety of supplements. We don't know the quality of those supplements. We don't know what those supplements are counter interacting, because I'm sorry to tell you, but Dr. Google doesn't know what medications you're on, if you're sleeping at night, what foods you're consuming. There can be a lot of things that make things worse, especially in terms of gut health. You can be taking the wrong probiotic, feeding bacteria that you don't need to feed in the gut, and that can make things worse. And so just wanted to add that on there, because at the end of the day, the diet culture and the industry of weight loss preys upon our vulnerabilities. I've fallen to that many, many times. $80 for this supplement, and that's going to be the magic fix all, because they have all these promises and the marketing and advertising is bar none. So I spent thousands of dollars on supplements, wraps, all these things. And we see it with clients when they come in, laundry list of supplements that they're taking. And so that's one of the first places that we start to clean up, is like, why, who recommended this? How long have you been on it? And all of these things, because, when you are taking supplements, it should be supplemental to the foundations, as Becca was saying. And so just remember that there is no magic pill. If there was, we wouldn't be fighting obesity pandemic that we have these days. And stop wasting your time, your energy, and your money on Dr. Google trying to DIY your health and buy more and more supplements. You need to get to the root cause, and you need to support your long-term health.
This is like gospel right up in here. And so much of what you ladies are sharing, I either use these phrases or have said the same thing. So thank you for this beautiful work you're doing and these messages you're sharing. I have two more questions, and I wonder if you each want to take one or however you want to do it. I wonder if one of you could share what you would say to your 20-year-old self, something you wish that you knew that you would say to her now.
So I wrote this down earlier because I had
You can take it.
the privilege of, reviewing these questions beforehand. And so what I would say to my 20-year-old self is that the answer is not more. I was trying to do more movement, more cardio, more workouts, more restriction, just cut my calories more. And the answer was none of that. The answer was less. Let's manage stress. Let's get the right nutrients in our body, less of the processed foods, less of the toxins coming in, all of those things. And I would also say, in that light, looking back at her today, is that you're beautiful the way that you are, because I think so many people get into that place of vulnerability, like I was, that they're willing to do anything and everything to get out of that space. And so we're willing to do all these extremes and more and more and more. And that's so hard on your body. And I truly believe, I've said this a few times on our podcast, that was damaging and detrimental to, my hormones, to my overall health. And that probably walked me right into the Hashimoto's diagnosis with my second autoimmune. So that would be my answer.
Thank you. Beautiful. And maybe Becca, do you want to take this one?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a big message you would scream from a mountaintop that you want the whole world to know?
Focus on health. Stop chasing weight loss. Because when you focus on health, your body will fall into place exactly where it's meant to be. And I think that so many of us do so many damaging things to our body, chasing this number on the scale, and do not listen to our bodies. We ignore symptoms until they're screaming in our face. And if you would simply focus on finding ways to make your body healthier, happier, the weight will come.
Perfect. Agreed. Thank you. So, where can the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle podcast listeners find you, ladies?
Well, we are on Instagram. We are separate Instagram accounts. For a period of time, we're trying to manage our business account and our accounts, but I'm at Liz Roman Nutrition.
Yep. I am Becca Chilcz Nutrition.
And then we also have our podcast, which is the Food Code Podcast. You can find us on all platforms. And then our website is fitmomsociety.com.
Fantastic. So we will have all of their contact information in the show notes for you, beauties. Thank you so much for your time and your presence and your heart in taking a stand for true health from the inside out, helping our beauties, our queens, our men and women shine from the inside out. Thank you. I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast, which is now being shared here on YouTube. I hope this episode brought you insights and inspiration to radiate and shine with confidence. Remember to subscribe so you receive new episodes hot off the press right when they are released. And follow me on Instagram for more juicy tips at I am Lisa Eddy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, when you subscribe, like, and share these episodes, it helps me to get seen by more people. And that means a lot to me because I am committed to reaching millions of women across the globe and waking them up to the sacred beauty lifestyle, owning their true power and beauty both inside and out. Now, more than ever, we need more women shining instead of hiding. When we band together, we are unstoppable. This is how we change the world, together. Remember the sacred beauty lifestyle and get on out there and shine. The world needs your light.